All right, we've got some breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ where Bears All-Pro linebacker Roquan Smith has requested a trade. Put together a statement through notes on his iPhone. It reads in part, walking these hallways the past 4 years, you can feel the spirit, you can feel the pressure to live up to that timeless history. Talking about the Bears, that great legacy, a dream of playing like Wilbur Marshall, Singletary, Briggs, Urlacher, Butkus. Since the day I was drafted, vowed to play this position at a level that upheld the standard was for me to uphold that respect and honor that I have. But ultimately, he wants out, and we have Ryan Wilson of the Pick Six Pod joining us here. So what do you make of the Roquan Smith situation with the news that he really wants to get out of town?
My first impression, Tommy, is that I thought he did a really good job of putting his words on paper that made it easy for folks to understand. A lot of times, pre-social media especially, is that players would just hold out. We wouldn't have any idea why. Fans understand quite clearly what Roquan Smith wants to happen. He made it clear on the second page of his notes statement via his iPhone that the front office wasn't willing to negotiate in good faith, according to his words, in terms of a new deal. Roquan's in the final year of his rookie deal, and he wants to get paid, I would imagine, like Shaquille Leonard with the Colts, which is up there. C.J. Mosley is the second highest paid linebacker on the inside in terms of average annual value. He's probably on the downside of a really good career that started in Baltimore and now in New York, where there have been some injury issues. And Roquan Smith has been integral to the middle part of that defense for Chicago, and that defense is a huge part of their success, any such success they should find, because the offense hasn't quite gotten there yet. Whether it's with the old coaching staff or the new regime, we'll find out. But I think Roquan Smith thinks he's not being valued as highly as perhaps he should be. Obviously, the front office has a different view on that, at least according to Roquan, and the two sides are at an impasse. Now, we'll see how this moves forward. We're sort of late in the process. There's going to be huge monies involved should he be traded in terms of new contracts. But as we sit here right now, I thought Roquan's words made it clear where he stood and why, and he doesn't come off as sounding sometimes like fans like to call these players selfish or any self-interest and so on and so forth. So good job on that from Roquan. I think now the interesting thing is where does this go from here, Tommy?
Yeah, glad you brought up the second page. You said they refuse to negotiate in good faith. Every step of this journey has been a take it or leave it deal that sends me to want to think about why he then put his thoughts onto the message there on his iPhone. So you mentioned where do we go from here? It's interesting because of the position that the Bears are in, right? Because in years past, when they've had these sort of hold-out or hold-in situations, they've been primarily a good team. Devin Hester, we talked about Briggs and the great linebackers there. They're not a good team. They're a team in transition. They got a young quarterback here. How do you think this maybe complicates things in terms of him getting out of there?
Typically, Tommy, I always say quarterbacks are the only players in professional football that have leverage because they're the most important cog to the puzzle you're trying to work out there. But I think in this situation, and previously Orlando Brandon, Kansas City as the left tackle, had some leverage because he's protecting the best player on planet Earth. And I think in that same vein, to your point, Tommy, Roquan Smith is part of a group that's got to protect Justin Fields in that offense, and they have to be able to create turnovers. They have to be able to compete in a tough division with obviously the Packers and the Vikings and an upstart Lions team. And if the Bears defense isn't on point, that's going to make for long Sundays for Justin Fields in that offense. So in that sense, I think Roquan Smith does have some leverage. He's had a really good start to his career. He's one of the best young inside linebackers in the league. The question becomes the timing, and our team's going to be willing to pay him Shaq Leonard money. And I don't know if that's going to happen at this point. Maybe he has to play out the final year of his rookie deal and go from there. But it certainly sounds like he's unhappy. I would say they're at an impasse, but as we know, Tommy, sometimes players take things more personally than front offices when it comes to negotiating, and I would imagine that impasse could be resolved should the dollar amounts become closer in terms of what one side wants compared to what the other side's willing to give up.
Or once upon a time, Roquan Smith and Khalil Mack, the monsters of the Midway, and now Mack gone. Roquan Smith could be on his way out as well. Ryan Wilson with that breaking news. R-Dub certainly appreciated. Again, taking a look at the Bears schedule here. Now, this was sort of new head coach Matt Eberflus and his coordinator Alan Williams. Now, again, this was before the trade, but talking about Smith, Williams saying you got to play with whoever you have. That's the reality in NFL. You spend your entire time thinking about what you don't have. You'll be behind the 8 ball, and that's not what we're going to do. We're not going to make excuses and reasons why we can't. We're going to find reasons why we can't.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.